So you're running in Kentucky. Obviously, the target is on Mitch McConnell, but you do have to make it through your primary first. And so I want to talk about your competition at both levels. So a number of people running. Aimee McGrath is considered sort of like the biggest name that's running right now. Tell me about some of the things that differentiate you and Aimee.
Well, when I talked about the kind of people who've run against Mitch McConnell before, that's where she's running, as trying to appeal to this squishy middle. And it's not working. When she ran in 2018 in the 6th congressional district, and she ran as the most progressive for this left person in Kentucky. And now her newest incarnation running against Mitch McConnell, she said that she would have voted to seat Brett Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court. She says that Mitch
Wow.
McConnell stopping Donald Trump from draining the swamp. So, her policies that you can find are all kind of mushy, middle of the road, not very exciting. A lot of, well, we need to have a conversation about that. We need to explore that, and nothing hard. And I am, this is time to excite the base. This is time to stand for something. So, I'm running as who I am, and letting it all hang out. I put my policies on the website back in August and have let everyone take a look at them and take a whack at them. And so, I think the battle for ideas with the McGrath campaign is long since over, particularly with the advent of the pandemic. Of course, there's this canard that she's the front runner. She's a front runner money only. She was recruited by the DSCC, by Chuck Schumer. She gets all the outside money. But those people don't get to vote in Kentucky, and people in Kentucky are flat on her.
Are you expecting any direct debates? I mean, I guess they would be virtual at this point, but debates inside of the primary?
Well, we had our last town hall about 7 weeks ago. It was the last time, and it's funny. It was in Northern Kentucky, run by Indivisible. It was great venue, great event, and after her performance that night, everyone said, "You'll never see her again." And yeah, because it was terrible. And so, like, for example, Kentucky National Organization for Women had a candidate forum scheduled. And of course, it was the pandemic shut down the public meeting. And they said, "Hey, let's just do this virtually." And none of the other candidates said they would do it. And I said, "Well, hell, I'll do it." And so Kentucky National Organization for Women, instead of canceling, said, "Okay, we'll give Breuer the whole hour." And literally, so the Kentucky National Organization for Women's candidate forum consisted of me fielding answers from their
Wow.
membership for an hour. And it was
But
awesome.
and it's 9 people you're running against right now. Not one was willing
Right?
to go against you in that.
There, 9 to myself.
Wow. Okay, that is something. So on Mitch McConnell, he's held the seat since 1984, and at least recently, he's been one of the most hated political figures in the country. So, in terms of how you're crafting your strategy against him, how does he keep winning when he is so hated? Is he not hated in Kentucky? Is there something he's doing that the Republicans there just love? What do you attribute his success to over the years? Is it the sorts of candidates that are challenging him?
Well, you're right. He has got the ability to parachute some pork in during an election year. Everyone. The joke here is you don't have to look at the calendar. When Mitch shows up with a highway bypass, then it's an election year coming up, and particularly with his wife as the Secretary of Transportation, you can double down on that. But yeah, and of course in the past if you run as Republican light against a Republican, the Democratic base does not get excited. Actually, there are more Democratic voters in Kentucky, registered voters in Kentucky, than Republicans. And so if you cannot excite them, and if you give them a choice between a Republican or a Republican light, the Democrats stay home and everyone else votes for the Republican anyways. So a little bit is about us as Democrats here in Kentucky. And then the other half is, he can deliver some pork, particularly in an election year.
And we've sort of like walked around this a little bit through the course of the interview, but obviously, like nationally, when people think about figures that are doing damage, Trump certainly takes up a lot of the oxygen in the room. He's the biggest figure. Do you think that a case could be made that Mitch McConnell over the past 3+ years has been in the same ballpark in terms of the effect that he's had on the country?
Well, I mean, I know you expect me to say worse, so I'm going to say worse, but I really believe it. He rare moments of truth from Mitch McConnell. About a year ago, he was speaking to a group here in Kentucky, and he was talking about federal judges. And he said, "I am changing America forever." And he was. I mean, and so even if we replace Donald Trump, even if we maintain the House, even if we flip the Senate, these 140 plus federal judges with lifetime appointments that they've rammed through, people the ABA says are unqualified, and they're ideologically driven, and they owe their allegiance to people like McConnell. And the damage that Mitch McConnell's caused to the republic and to the Constitution is going to last probably for the rest of my life.
Wow. Well, hopefully some of that damage can be limited by the right candidate beating him in November. Mike, where can people find out more about your campaign and possibly join one of your virtual hangouts?
The best place to start, of course, is my website, MikeForKY.com, MikeForKY.com. From there's links to all the social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, a bunch of great videos on YouTube, but you can reach them off the Facebook page. And then from there, if you go to the Facebook site, that's a great launching point to see our 7 p.m. live stream every night except for tonight. Called Chicken Bristle Live, and it's been a lot of fun doing it. And we get great questions. We field questions live. I love the question and answer. Keeps you on your toes, makes you smart. And so MikeForKY.com is a place to start.
Awesome, Mike Breuer. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really my pleasure.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.